There is one thing a woman will never share with a man, and when I say never, I mean never, unless she is completely, irreversibly, hopelessly in love with him. And no, it is not her phone password. It is something so intimate, so raw, that most men do not even recognize it when it is happening right in front of them. A 2023 study from the Journal of Social and Personal Relationships found that 78% of men completely missed the moment a woman emotionally committed to them. 78%. That means there may be a woman in your life right now who has already handed you everything, and you are standing there searching for a door that is already wide open. Stay with this, because what follows could genuinely change how you see the relationships around you. And the final sign, the one held back until the very end, is the one that separates a woman who finds you interesting from a woman who would go to the ends of the earth for you. Here is something most people will never say out loud. Women do not fall in love the way men imagine they do. Men tend to picture it as a dramatic declaration, some cinematic moment where she finally says the words and everything becomes clear. That idea is sweet. It is also almost entirely wrong. When a woman falls in love, she does not announce it. She leaks it. She reveals it through tiny, nearly invisible gestures that most men walk straight past without a second thought. And here is why this matters more than you might realize. If you miss these moments, if you fail to recognize what she is actually giving you, she will eventually stop giving it. Not because her feelings changed, but because she concluded that you were not paying attention. A woman who feels unseen will close that door so quietly, you will not hear it happen. You will simply notice one day that something has shifted, and you will have no idea when or why. So here, right now, is a walk through the exact things a woman shares only when she is genuinely, deeply, completely in love. Some of these will catch you off guard. Some will make you reconsider relationships you thought you understood. And the final one may stop you mid-breath. The first is her childhood wounds. When a woman begins opening up about her childhood, and not the charming stories, not the spelling bee trophy, or the funny memory from a family road trip, but the real things, the heavy things, pay attention with everything you have. The nights she lay awake listening to her parents fight, the moment she first understood what it felt like to be abandoned. The reason a raised voice still makes her body tense before her mind catches up. When she shares that with you, she is not making conversation. She is placing a piece of her soul in your hands, wrapped carefully in a sentence. She has likely rehearsed that moment dozens of times in her head before ever speaking it aloud. Dr. Sue Johnson, clinical psychologist and founder of Emotionally Focused Therapy, describes emotional vulnerability as the single greatest indicator of deep attachment bonding between partners. Put simply, a woman does not show you her wounds unless she trusts you to handle them with care. She has almost certainly been hurt before, shared something tender with the wrong person, and watched them use it carelessly. So if she is showing you the parts of her story she normally keeps locked away, she is not being fragile. She is being extraordinarily brave, and she is being brave because she loves you enough to risk it. The mistake most men make at this point is reaching immediately for a solution. They hear her pain and shift into fix-it mode, suggesting therapy, minimizing the timeline, offering logical perspective. Stop. She is not asking to be repaired. She is asking to be witnessed. She needs someone willing to sit inside that moment with her, not someone eager to move her out of it as quickly as possible. The second thing she shares is her body insecurities. This one might genuinely surprise you. Women perform confidence constantly. The carefully chosen angles, the filtered images, the polished presentation the world expects. So when a woman turns to you without any of that armor in place, under unflattering lighting, in comfortable clothes, and says something like, "I really hate this part of me," or "I just don't feel good in my skin today," understand what you are actually witnessing. That is not a bid for compliments. That is an act of trust that required real courage. Research from the International Journal of Eating Disorders found that over 91% of women carry significant dissatisfaction about their physical appearance. 91%. That means almost every woman you have ever known is walking through the world with a private, ongoing war inside her head about how she looks. And this particular woman is choosing to let you behind the curtain. She is showing you the version of herself she hides from social media, from colleagues, from almost everyone. When she shares her physical insecurities with you, she is saying, "I trust you to see me clearly and still look at me the same way." That is not a small offering. That is enormous. And your response in that moment will be filed away permanently. Women do not forget how a man received their vulnerability the first time they showed it. Make sure you end up in the right place in her memory. The third thing, and this one will make you think differently, is her silence. Not words, silence. Before you question that, consider this. Researchers at the University of Groningen found that it takes as little as 4 seconds of quiet in a conversation before people begin to feel anxious and unwanted. 4 seconds. Barely enough time to exhale fully. So when a woman can sit beside you in complete stillness, no phone, no performance, no compulsion to fill the air, and feel entirely at peace, that is one of the purest expressions of emotional intimacy that exists. Women are conditioned from childhood to keep things moving, to ensure everyone around them feels comfortable, to maintain the flow of connection through conversation and warmth. When she releases all of that around you and simply exists in your presence without any trace of anxiety, she is communicating something vast without uttering a single word. She feels safe. She feels like she is home. Most men are so preoccupied with the fear of awkward silence that they miss the truth entirely. Her silence is not awkward. It is sacred. She is not bored. She is settled, and that only happens with someone she loves. The fourth thing she shares is her future, with you already inside it. When she casually mentions something like, "We should go there next summer," or "when we have a place of our own someday," or even something as offhand as, "You would love my cousin's wedding in October." Pause. Replay that. Because she just placed you inside the story of her life going forward. And women do not do that by accident. Research from the Gottman Institute, which has dedicated over 4 decades to studying what makes relationships last, identifies one of the strongest predictors of relationship success as what they call building love maps, a partner actively incorporating you into their vision of the future. When she speaks about trips not yet taken, milestones not yet reached, seasons still ahead, she is constructing a future in her mind with you at the center of it. Contrast that with how women speak when they are uncertain. The language becomes careful, non-committal. Maybe, we'll see, I'm not sure what I'm doing next week. When she loves you, that language disappears. Suddenly, everything becomes we and us and our. She stopped moving through her life alone and quietly handed you a permanent place in it. The fifth thing she shares requires the most trust of all, and it is also the one most men handle the worst. Her past relationship pain. When a woman tells you about what a previous partner did to her, the betrayal, the slow erosion of her confidence, the nights she spent crying over something she did not fully understand until much later, she is not complaining. She is not trying to make you feel competitive. She is not still attached to that person. She is terrified of going through it again. And she is telling you because she loves you enough to hand you the map of where she has been wounded, so you understand the terrain and do not accidentally walk the same path. Dr. Brené Brown, who has spent more than 20 years studying vulnerability and human connection, describes this kind of moment as part of what she calls the anatomy of trust, a sequence of small, carefully chosen disclosures where one person opens up and the other responds with genuine care. How you receive her past heartbreak will determine whether she continues opening or begins quietly reinforcing the walls she once worked so hard to take down. The worst possible response is dismissiveness. Something like, "Well, I'm not him," which, while technically accurate, is emotionally hollow. What she needs is for you to acknowledge the weight of what she just shared and demonstrate through your behavior over time that you actually understand why it matters. The sixth thing she reveals, and this one will make you smile, but do not underestimate it, is her embarrassing habits and private pleasures. When she tells you she has rewatched the same guilty pleasure reality show 4 times, that she holds full conversations with her cat in a voice she would never use in public, or that she regularly eats cereal at midnight while standing at the kitchen counter. She is not being random. She is showing you the version of herself that nobody else gets access to. Women are constantly editing themselves for the world, for their workplace, their social circles, their family, their online presence. There is always a curated version being carefully managed. When she lets you see the one that sings completely off-key, has passionate opinions about snack food, and laughs at things she probably should not, that is love. That is her saying, "Here is who I actually am, and I am trusting you not to make me feel foolish for it." Dr. Arthur Aaron, psychologist at Stony Brook University, found through his research that self-disclosure, including seemingly trivial personal details, significantly deepens feelings of closeness and love between people. His famous 36-question study, designed to accelerate intimacy between strangers, functioned almost entirely through escalating vulnerability. Sharing your strange, harmless, wonderfully specific quirks is vulnerability too. It says the performance is over. This is real. So the next time she confesses to a playlist called Crying in the Car or admits she still sleeps with something she has had since childhood, do not laugh at her. Laugh with her. She just gave you something more honest than most people share in a lifetime. The 7th thing is her financial reality. Money is the last remaining taboo in most relationships. People will discuss childhood trauma, therapy, past relationships, almost anything, before they will tell you the actual number in their bank account or how much debt they are carrying. A 2022 Bankrate survey found that 42% of Americans have concealed a financial truth from a romantic partner. Nearly half of all people in relationships are hiding something about money. So, when a woman tells you the truth about where she stands financially, the student loans, the credit card balance, the fact that she is stretched thin, or even that she earns well and worries about how that changes the dynamic, she is offering you a level of honesty that goes beyond emotional openness. She is showing you the unglamorous, unfiltered, practical reality of her daily life. And she would not do that unless she saw you as someone she intends to stand beside long-term, not someone passing through. That disclosure is her way of saying, I want you to know where I actually am, because I am planning to build something real with you. Now, the final sign. The one that matters more than everything else combined. The one that separates a woman who is drawn to you from a woman who has chosen you completely. Her fear of losing you. When a woman looks at you and says something like, "Sometimes I'm scared this is too good to be real," or "I get afraid you're going to leave," or when she holds on just a little longer after a difficult moment between you. That is it. That is the sign. That is a woman who is fully, unreservedly in love. Here is why this carries such extraordinary weight. From a very young age, women are conditioned to project independence, to never appear too invested, to never let it show that someone has the power to hurt them. Society actively trains women to behave as though they could walk away at any moment, even when everything inside them is pulling in the opposite direction. So when a woman breaks through all of that conditioning, all of that carefully constructed armor, and admits to you that the thought of losing you genuinely frightens her, she has just done something that required more courage than almost anything else on this list. Attachment theory, originally developed by psychologist John Bowlby, establishes that the fear of losing someone we are deeply bonded to is not weakness. It is evidence of secure, genuine attachment. When separation from someone causes real emotional distress, that is the clearest possible signal of how deeply they matter. She is not being clingy. She is being human. And she is being completely honest about the depth of what she feels for you. This is the moment where most relationships either reach an entirely new level or begin to quietly fracture, because how you respond to her fear will tell her everything she needs to know about whether she made the right choice in loving you the way she does. If you brush it off, she will begin protecting herself. If you meet it with genuine reassurance, not just once, but consistently through what you do as much as what you say, she will love you in ways you did not know were possible. Here is what all of this adds up to. A woman who shares her childhood wounds, her body insecurities, her easy silence, her vision of the future with you in it, the pain her past left behind, her unfiltered and wonderfully strange private self, the honest reality of her finances, and the fear that comes from loving you this much. That is not a woman who is casually interested. That is a woman who has chosen you deliberately and completely, in full awareness of every risk involved. And the fact that you stayed through all of this suggests something about you as well. It suggests you are not the kind of person who wants to drift through a relationship without truly understanding the person beside you. You want to actually see her. And that already puts you somewhere most people never reach. But here is the thought worth carrying with you. Every single thing covered here is a form of communication. She is constantly telling you how she feels, not always in words, but in trust, in what she chooses to reveal, in the moments she allows herself to be fully known. The question was never whether she is communicating. The question is whether you are listening. If something here helped you see what you may have been missing, pass it to someone who needs to hear it. A friend, someone you care about who might be standing right in front of something real without realizing it. That conversation could matter more than either of you expects.